Thanks for pressing play, everyone. In this video, we're going to have a look at these cars here. This is a Hyundai i30 and this is a Hyundai i30. This is the previous shape and this is the newer shape. This is the phase 2 model. And in this video, what we're going to do is have a look around the differences between each one. Just before we get started, Brian is my name and it's Fitzpatrick's Garage, Dublin Road, Kildare. If there's any information you want on these cars and you're in Ireland, 086 843 1945. Or if you're watching on YouTube and you think the video is useful, please do like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below if there's anything I've missed or if there's any differences that you'd like to know about between the two cars. Anyway, let's start looking around the differences. So something kind of useful for this video, actually I've managed to find two cars in the same colour. So that allows us just to really see what the distinguishing differences are, rather than sometimes you can find two cars in two different colours. They can just actually look very different. So the first thing is, I think it's pretty obvious, you're going to see the front end of the car on this one compared to the front end of the car on this one, a much different shape. The grille and the daytime runners on this new car, they are just absolutely spectacular looking. You look along here, it has pretty much the world's largest set of daytime running lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 LEDs on either side. And the grille at the front of the car is absolutely gigantic. Again, this is the kind of car, when you see it behind you on the road or just when you pass by it, it is definitely now going to catch your attention in a much more aggressive fashion. And just to be more specific, let's compare the two. So if we have a look, you'll see this was this style hexagon style grille, which was a cascading grille, but this has come out much more aggressively and much wider. And then over here we had daytime running lights, which had 5 either side, except for now we've got 10 either side. And that somewhere else is where the daytime runner was. So if you thought they were large, look at the size of the indicators. And again, like when you are driving up the road and you meet a car coming towards you with the indicator on, that car is just going to attract your attention. Again, 10 LEDs either side, so that's 20 LEDs at the front for those indicators. And you see the way the shape of them, and this is kind of a new style from Hyundai. So what you have is this contrasting shape. It really matches the grille, so it kind of fans around from the left to the right, compared to the previous model over here, which we do see again had 2 normal indicators. So again, they're nice and tidy, but they've really gone into a much more aggressive style on this particular model on the phase 2. The front fog lights, they are actually in the exact same place, but again I'm coming back to the same thing. When you look at the front of the car, it's nice and sharp at the front. So this one here, you got a front fog light, small little variations on colour between the daytime runner and the fog light, and the little orange piece up here. When you go over to this, it's a little bit cleaner looking overall. We have that grey kind of style grille. It's all white over around this direction here, and again no orange in the headlight up there. Again, I just think that's nice. And the headlights again then are very similar to the model that was before. So you do have projector headlights on this one, and no different this time around. We have these nice projector headlights as well, a full headlight here. And what's cool is they've managed to retain along here these cornering lamps. When you pull into a junction, your dip light is here, but you have this, I'm after blinding myself there, this cornering light is in through here as well. So when you're turning it kind of 45 degrees into a turn, it's actually lighting up the area that you're turning into. A small feature, but really handy in a dark area. And this car now is a nice diamond cut wheel. It's got a Michelin tyre. I love Michelin tyres, they're brilliant tyres. 205 55 16. What I mean by diamond cut is, see the way they're nice and shiny. And why do I like Michelin tyres? Because they are savage. There's brilliant grip on them. The previous model normally came with a Hankook tyre, and again same size as well. So in terms of running costs over the period of time, it is a different style of alloy wheel, but it is the same size, so it's going to be the same cost as it would have been on that previous model. The next thing that stands out to me then, if you look down the side of this car and then compared to this car over here, as you see, then there's going to be privacy glass on the rear of the newer model. Privacy glass means your rear windows along here are going to be darker, and that's cool for 2 reasons. Because first of all, privacy glass, it actually looks really nice anyway, so it's classy and upmarket looking, and I forgot to open the door of the car. The second thing though as well is, and you really appreciate this when you have young kids, is the darker window. When you have a wee child in the back of the car and you're going somewhere, the darkened window on the back, it stops the sun beating on top of their eyes without having to put the big friggin' black thing that people put on their window. So it looks well, but it actually has a practical use as well. Down the rear of the car then, so at a glance, if you look along the top, the roof spoiler is very similar on both sides, the boot lid is very similar, and the taillights are very similar. But very quickly you'll see there is something a little bit more interesting going on the back of the new one. So along here on this first model, there's always a black diffuser down along through here, whereas the new model then has a much more interesting shape, and I suppose it does mimic the idea of the fake exhaust that some people talk about. Right, yeah, fair enough, it does give it that idea, but you know what, it actually looks really well. So if you compare the 2 rear ends of this one versus that one there, this looks like 2 symmetrical exhausts in the rear, but it's just a design feature and it looks quite nice. The thing as well is this one here is a deluxe, which means it doesn't actually have parking sensors on the phase 1, whereas this phase 2 over here with a nice rear end as well, it's also going to have parking sensors on the rear, and we'll see there's a camera inside as well. The other thing as well is, I forgot, I'm only after noticing, see the size of the reflectors on this one here compared to over here. They're just, again, a little bit bigger. Everything's just a bit bigger and more aggressive on this newer version. In terms of the inside of the car then, let's just familiarise ourselves again with the Phase 1 model. So over here, electrics for windows and mirrors, and this is lane change warning. Again, I will be more detailed when we get into the newer version of the car. So this is how the steering wheel looks in terms of cruise control and trip computers and Bluetooth. The big thing for a lot of people then is the screen, which is in through here with a reverse camera. And down through there then, heating controls and a little bit of storage where the USB connector is in through here. If we move into Phase 2, along down through here, this seems to be identical. However, we do now have a button over here which allows us to reset the tyre pressure and also edit the start-stop functionality. Steering wheel looks very, very similar, and over here then Bluetooth controls, all that kind of stuff is similar, but guess what? It's got a massive screen. So you got sensors we talked about, it's got a way bigger reverse camera in through here as well, and also it has wireless charging down through there. So the other car had USB and it had some storage, whereas this one has USB and also wireless charging, which means if I pop my phone down there, it's going to charge without having to plug it in. And what about that screen? So in through here you got radio, fine, and then you got a big list, and it's all touch and swipe, and it's so easy to use, and it's got digital radio. That is really, really cool. Media is going to be things like USB, or if you're Bluetoothing music. After that then, if we go back out, if I go into Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, I can connect those things in through there, and then I got things like Google Maps and all that kind of stuff in through there as well. So it is really, really nice. When you're sitting in the car, it's nice just to have that big screen off to the centre for basically anything you would need to know when you're driving. So anyway, for anyone that wants to know about the differences on the two cars, hopefully so far the video has actually given you some useful information. The rest of the video now, what we're going to do is we're going to park up this old model Phase 1, and we're going to jump into Phase 2. We're going to go for a drive in the car, and then what we will do is go around the practical stuff on the inside in terms of features and just general size and stuff like that as well. So this particular model that we got here then is a 1 litre turbo petrol, and there is going to be a diesel 1.6 model as well. So let's start off by going for a drive in this car in this 1 litre version. How cool does that look with those big indicators? Anyway, let's go for a drive. So getting into the car, the dash is quite nice. The first thing is to get the safety belt on, that's fine. And then after that, the steering wheel actually is a rake reach steering wheel, so you can drop it down, it goes up and down and also in and out. So you can get a really nice comfortable driving position, and the seat is completely height adjustable. This car, when it came out in 2017, was a 1 litre petrol, and this is still a 1 litre petrol. However, it is the updated version of the engine called a Smart Stream engine. The gearbox is lovely in these cars. How would I describe it? i30s, the thing that comes into my head is they were always a really nice car to drive. This new Smart Stream version of the 1 litre turbo engine encourages you to drive the car on. It's quite enjoyable and makes some lovely noises, we'll see in a minute. One pretty cool feature as well is it has a lane keep assist, so it beeps if you cross the white line, that's fine, you can have it as a warning, or you can have it as an assist. So if I take my hands off the steering, it's going to do its best to keep us between the between the line and the ditch, keep us dead centre on the road. In terms of how they sit in the back road, one of the reasons I think they're nice to drive is they have independent rear suspension. The car sits lovely on the back road. The gearbox, again, it encourages you to use it, and like we'll see in a sec, that newer engine makes a lovely thump actually when you're driving it on. It actually doesn't feel like you're wringing the neck off it, it actually feels like the car is encouraging you to drive it hard. Like what I said to anyone though, do you know what, don't take my word for it, come try the car yourself, but I'm very confident if you come to drive the car, you'll think it's actually a very nice car to drive. And the other thing is this newer Smart Stream engine is definitely a much quieter engine when it's cruising or idling as well compared to the previous model. But again, it's got that lovely thumpy sound, so for me, I just like driving it. In terms of practicality then, and things like the boot in these cars was always quite good, and they still retain things like a spare wheel, which actually is getting quite rare in a lot of cars these days. Over here then, you got 12-volt outlet, you got a little hook over here, and you got another little hook over there as well, and if you want, those seats will fold down as well. I do apologise about the lighting, but over here you will have 3 head restraints, 3 3-point safety belts, ISOFIX over here, and actually it's really easy ISOFIX to use. It's not buried out of the way, you literally just slide it in through there. Much easier to use than a lot of modern cars where you have to go rooting trying to find where the ISOFIX points are. There is a child lock here on the door and a child lock on the window in through here, and just some nice brushed aluminium on the door handle. And in terms of size in the back of the car, so I'm 6 foot, so this is the amount of headroom I'm going to have, and then this is the amount of legroom I'm going to have. And the other thing as well then is I'll have a kangaroo pockets behind these 2 front seats, and if I sit in the front of the car I will have a seat that is completely height adjustable as well, and as we saw, And as I just dropped my mobile phone there, oops. In terms of the seat is completely height adjustable, obviously. The steering wheel we saw is rake reach as well. Over to here then you'll have things like the electrics for windows and mirrors that we saw, and it's even got things like folding mirrors. So when I lock the car, I hit the lock button, the wing mirrors come in, and I unlock the car and they come back out. The dash in these cars is really nice at night because it's all blue along through there. So in here, I've got cruise control. I've also got a trip meter, which is things like average speed and fuel efficiency. It'll tell me my tyre pressures. It'll tell me average fuel efficiency, as we talked about. And then things like the lane change warning, if I want to have the lane keep assist on, and if I want to just have a warning. So various ways you can manipulate it if you want. Over through here then, they are Bluetooth controls. See the way the lights are automatic here, right? Nothing major there. Obviously they come on themselves, but they also auto dip. So that means when you meet traffic, they will actually dip and they'll go back into fully lit when you pass by the piece of traffic. And the other thing as well is, do you know what? You don't have to even look over here because the screen tells you exactly what setting you're on. And the same thing for the wipers. Sometimes it's hard to know which setting am I set in, so they've solved that by putting in this along here so you know exactly where the wiper stalk is. Heating controls are really straightforward. I've got front and rear windscreen demisters, I've got warm or cold, I've got air conditioning, and that's kind of all you need. After that then, USB, 12 volt power, and then this big screen in through here with things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, so you can use Google Maps. So there you have it. That is the phase 2 version of the Hyundai i30 in what's called a deluxe specification. Deluxe specification, that'll be available petrol and diesel. 1 litre petrol 3-cylinder, which is what we drove, and the 1.6 diesel as well, which is a really economical but powerful diesel engine as well. Anyway, hopefully the video has been useful. If you're somebody who's trying to figure out what's good about the newer version, now you know the differences between them. Or if you're somebody that's never looked at the i30 before, now after looking at the video, hopefully it's something that you actually might consider. Well, if you want the biggest indicators around, that's definitely the car to look at this time. Other than that, if you want any information, 086 843 1945, call, text, WhatsApp, whatever suits. And we are Fitzpatrick's Garage, a family run business in operation for 70 years. So hopefully the video has been useful, and if you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe, or if you missed anything, just let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, hopefully the car is of interest. Thank you for taking time to watch.